Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestle Wellbeing. I'm your host Jim, and today on the Unseen Battles we've got a very special guest. I hope you're in for this one. But before I introduce my guest, it's time to talk about the Hot Tag Foundation. Now, for you guys that have been here before, the Hot Tag Foundation is a non-profit organisation based here in the UK that aims to share wrestling with children across Britain, particularly those in need. These are the activities that they do include collecting donations of wrestling items, could include toys, merchandise, and other wrestling goods. Make sure that these gifts are perfectly distributed to children and young people, mostly around Christmas and other seasonal holidays. And just in essence, the Hot Tag Foundation leverages the appeal of professional wrestling to bring joy and a sense of real life superheroes to children, especially those facing challenging circumstances. I'm going to play a 2-minute clip from those guys. On this clip is also QR codes to several UK wrestling companies up and down the UK. And make sure you go check those guys out. But before you do that, make sure you watch this episode because it's an absolute banger of an episode. So we'll see you in 2 minutes, guys.
Ready for Bloodstains the horizon, the sky's turning red. Steel claws of vengeance awaken the dead. The silence is shattered, the battle drums roar. We march through the ashes, we're ready for war. No mercy, no chains, no fear in our veins. The fire ignites, we'll never be tamed. Ready for war, the thunder will break. Fury unleashed, the earth's gonna shake. Raise the black flag, let the demons soar. We're forged in the chaos, ready for war. The wolves are howling, the night's closing in. A blade in the darkness where shadows begin. The weak will crumble, their cries fade away. We stand in the inferno, we'll never obey. No mercy, no chains, no fear in our veins. The fire ignites, we'll never be tamed. Ready for war, the thunder will break. Fury unleashed, the earth's gonna shake. Raise the black flag, let the demons soar. We're forged in the chaos, ready for war.
So there you are, guys. That is the Hot Tag Foundation, along with links to all the fantastic UK wrestling companies up and down the UK. And make sure you go to check those guys out. But before you do that, guys, make sure you check out this episode. And by this episode, I want to introduce my fantastic guest. He's one of the best professional wrestlers on the indie scene at the moment in time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the maniac himself. It is Charlie Mayne. Charlie, thank you for joining me, mate.
How we doing, mate?
I'm
Apologise
Johnny
about
Salmate.
that.
Yeah, it's no boys, mate. Oh, he's gone. Just give him a couple of minutes, guys. It's not the first time we've had technical difficulties. If you've got some questions, guys, make sure you bang them in the comments and I'll put them to Charlie when he comes back. And he's back.
I'm hoping that's the last time. I say I've got my tablet here for backup now. I don't know what is going on.
No worries, mate. How are you anyway, bud?
Yeah, not too bad. I say I hate technology, so this is a stretch for me.
No worries, mate. Obviously, I really do appreciate you taking the time out to come speak to us today, bud. So, anybody, if anybody that's watching, mate, who for whatever reason doesn't know who you are, can you please just enlighten the people?
Yes, so I've been working now about a year and a half. I say I've worked started to work pretty much all over. I say I train with Marty Jones over at Squared Circle in Oldham. Started there October 2023. Made the debut at Union Wrestling over in Wales. Started working for Firestar, Britannia. I've just done bits everywhere. I call myself the RAC of wrestling, due to the fact that I tend to be the guy people call when people drop out last minute. I don't mind a 2-hour car drive, trying to get there with 10 minutes to spare before the show starts. So that's pretty much my speciality.
Obviously, very reliable, mate. If you've been requested by a lot of people.
Just hungry.
Fantastic, mate. So, for anyone that's watching for the first time, first of all, welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and also share with your friends. Because these episodes are absolutely fantastic in getting to know the ins and outs of professional wrestling through the eyes of a professional wrestler. But not only that, it's great to see behind the scenes and obviously what goes on behind closed doors, especially when it comes to mental health with wrestlers. But before we get into the mental health side of things, Charlie, can you tell us what initially drew you to professional wrestling? Is it something that has been a childhood dream, or is it something that you later came into in life?
Oh yeah. So since I could remember. So I'm the youngest brother. So obviously, big brother used to watch wrestling. So yeah, I used to do whatever big brother did. Used to sit on the bed, little box TV in the room, and then just used to watch. Well, it's a bit of a weird one. We watched wrestling for a bit. So back in the day before the Amazon Fire Sticks, we had a dodgy NTL box, and then that lasted about. That's a throwback, but yeah, that lasted a few months. And then I used to have to go to car boot sales with my nan and buy the old VHSs. So I grew up watching an absolute variety of wrestling. So just anything that had a wrestler on it. So it could be New Generation, some ECW stuff, which a 6, 7-year-old probably shouldn't have been watching. But yeah, my family just thought it's wrestling, it'll be fine.
So, mate, so can you describe your training experience and what it was like when you first stepped into the ring?
Oh yeah, so over at Marty's place, it's quite unique. It is a throwback. So obviously Marty's responsible for people like obviously William Regal. Obviously he used to be World of Sport, so them guys were brought in the old way, and that's what he likes to teach. Uh, yeah, so I went down to the gym. Finally said I was going to do it. I got the balls to go through with it.
I think we might be having some more technical difficulties. Hopefully, Charlie will come back. So yeah, we are having some technical difficulties again. Charlie should be back.
Oh my god.
Don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it. Are you all right?
No, sorry, I apologise. This is gonna be the worst episode ever. My phone's
Don't worry about
decided it
it,
wants to
mate.
kick me out, and then my tablet decided it wants to kick me out as well.
Don't worry
But yeah,
about it, mate.
sorry about
Honestly,
that.
Yeah, don't
hopefully.
worry about it, mate. So, yeah, you were describing obviously your first training experience and stepping into the ring for the first time, mate.
Yeah, so I walked into a dusty, I think it was like a Muay Thai gym in Oldham. So that's where the old training place used to be. And I walked in, and there was a ring that was in pieces on the floor, and then just some mats. So I turned up, and the ring was in the middle of being pretty much redone. And then obviously got to meet Mr. Jones, which, to be fair, I knew exactly who he was. So I was a little bit starstruck at first. And then, yeah, got to training. It was quite intense. I say he likes to put you through it. It's good because, especially the first session, he teaches like a lot of conditioning and stuff. Obviously, he picks up in like Japan, Mexico. So yeah, I thought I was quite a fit lad. So I come from like a sporting background. I say I grew up playing professional football. Just come out of 3 years of boxing. Thought, oh, I'll absolutely rinse this, and I was honestly aching after the warm up. And then as soon as he said that was the warm up, I couldn't believe it. I thought that was the whole session. Uh, but yeah, he got the mats out, and then he started teaching me how to bump. And then I took my first bump on probably the thinnest mat you'll ever see in your life. And yeah, it wasn't great, and it knocks all the wind out of me. So yeah, we did that, went through some basic rolls. I finished the session, and I absolutely loved it. Like, it was so crazy, but I think that's what I still love about it now. Like, it's just one of the craziest things to be involved with. Uh, but yeah, that was my first training experience, and then I kept turning up. The more I kept turning up, the better I got, and then yeah, I just got the bug pretty much straight away.
So, mate, so obviously after that first training session, who was the first people that you kind of told? Was it your brothers that you told, and what was their reaction?
I didn't actually tell anyone at first, so I just wanted to see what it was like. Again, I'm not really that close knit. It sounds bad to say. I kind of keep myself to myself anyway. So I knew I knew after football I needed to find something else to occupy me. And then I kind of got into boxing because I wanted to be a wrestler, but I didn't know I did in my head. I didn't know you could actually just go and be a wrestler. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know where to train. It was just one of them things that I don't know how I didn't go straight into it. But
Mhm.
when I go back to boxing, I literally spent most of my time in training just dicking about, pretending to do moves in the ring. Every time I walked out for a bout, I'd have wrestling music playing in the background. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to do. So obviously, it got to a point where it just clicked one day, and I said, How do I become a wrestler? What do I have to go through?" In my head, I kind of thought like you had to be scouted, or like kind of like WWE are doing now, where they're taking like athletes and obviously putting them through the performance center. Uh, Obviously, the more I looked into it, and the more that I seen, there was like, I say, being from Warrington, I had the choice to go to Liverpool or Manchester. Uh, Obviously, when I seen Squared Circle, Marty's name was next to it, and it's kind of like one of the names that I recognised. And then that's how I ended up picking Squared Circle originally.
Fair play, mate. So, obviously, as you alluded to, that you've wrestled for quite a few wrestling companies so far. What have been some of the most memorable moments and matches in your career so far? Oh, he's gone again. Do apologise for the technical difficulties, ladies and gents. We will be getting Charlie back as soon as possible. I think he's just having a couple problems with the stuff that he's using, his tablet or his phone. But we'll get him back. Like I say, if you've got some questions for Charlie, make sure you bang them in the comments. Try and get them to him as quick as when we can. See if we've got him again. There we are, mate.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. Right, this should be it.
Ah,
I've got a laptop.
no, we've
Changed
got it. Absolutely no worries. So, next question for you, mate, was what has been some of the most memorable moments or matches in your career so far?
Memorable moments. So, I think the big one was got to do a show for Firestar. So it was the first ever company outside of union that I worked for. So obviously I got my start with union wrestling. Rob, the guy who runs Firestar, great guy, came down to training, seen a bunch of us, said he wanted me and another lad to do his show. I wasn't aware that obviously Martin Kerber was going to be in the main event of the same show. It didn't clock that I was going to be sharing the same dressing room as him. Obviously, being a massive What Culture mark back in the day, Martin Kirby was like a big idol pretty much. I went out and seen him in Altrincham and went to the Kirby Mania show, and yeah, so obviously that was the first time I got to meet someone that I actually used to like watch. But I did that show and I was full of flu. It was like December. I'd been dying in bed all week. I didn't want to pass the opportunity up. So he's walks in the locker room, and I'm like sat in the corner and I'm dripping in sweat, and I've got like a bin next to me because I'm just not feeling too good. And I dragged myself out, had my match, managed to get through it, went straight back to the changing rooms, and just began to start being sick. So it's not the way I wanted to meet him. Was embarrassed. And then after the show, I got told that Martin wants a match for you on the next show. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. So I got to have a match with Martin Kerber, which was, I was still in my first year of wrestling. I was really green. It was really great of him to do it. Like, he didn't have to. And it was just a surreal moment. I look back now and I'm thinking, I was really green. I could have done this different or this different. But I learned so much in that one match. It was unbelievable. It was great to see the actual levels as well, and it's like all the little sayings people say to you, they all just made sense after that match. But yeah, that's probably the most surreal moment so far.
Definitely, and even though you, obviously, like you say, you were quite green after your first match. What sort of things were going through your head when you were told that obviously Martin Kirby is someone that you've looked up to for quite a while, has actually said that he wanted to have a match with you? What sort of things are going through your head at that point?
Well, I just thought the guy was joking, or to this day, I think maybe he's just put me in the match and said that to make me feel. I don't know. You just kind of don't. You just you don't believe it. I went home and then that's the thing. Like I'm pretty much the only wrestling fan out of my mates. Well, I say pretty much. I'm the only wrestling fan out of my mates. I'm the only wrestling fan in my family. Like I went home and then I'm trying to talk to people about it and they're just staring at me and I'm like, no, like this is like a big deal for me. Like but yeah, just like some mini I was really excited, but I was just I was freaking out. Like, I was freaking out just having matches in general at that point, never mind obviously who was going on with. But yeah, great guy. Couldn't be any more thankful for him doing that.
Definitely, mate. I think I think a lot of people would have had those sort of like thoughts in their head if they'd have heard something like that. And I think you speak for a lot of people when you say that you're the only wrestling fan in your family and in your friend group, sort of thing. And it's quite difficult to speak to obviously your family and friends about this sort of stuff because they just look at you like you're talking a different language, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, and when I went back to training as well, like obviously like no one else could kind of believe it. I say that's where I could freak out a bit, and everyone's. And then to be fair, I kept it kind of quiet. And then I think the day of, everyone's like, "Aren't you on with Kirby tonight?" And I'm like, "Yep." Like, you scared? Yep. Like, just that's all I had to say about it. But no,
Definitely. It's
great night.
fantastic, mate. Glad to hear that. So, who are some of the wrestlers that have inspired you throughout your journey so far?
So the big one has to be. So when I was younger, I feel like it's really generic to say. Obviously, being from England, but obviously Bulldog was like a massive, massive inspiration. Just because obviously, like I say, I used to have the VHS tapes, and then I used to like it was one of the first ones. It was the Royal Rumble, the one where Shawn Michaels kind of cheats him out of it. But even just that moment, like I don't know, I just fell in love with wrestling. Seeing him, it's that moment when he stood in the second rope, and obviously he opens up. He's got like the tassels, he's got the Union Jack trunks, and then straight from there, I was absolutely just enamored with it. Obviously, growing up, I then realised that he's from Goulburn, which is 5 minutes from where I live. So then, obviously, as a young kid, I'm freaking out, thinking, "Oh my God, there's a wrestler from near where I live, and he's made it massive in WWE." And then it got even weirder because it turns out my granddad used to work with his auntie at Matalan, of all places. And then I used to always mither him and say, "Oh, can you get her to tell you another Bulldog story? Can you get her to tell?" And then he used to come home, and I'm pretty sure half the time he just made them up just to shut me up. But just like that, yeah. But then as I got older, it kind of got a bit more surreal because the gym that I train at around the corner, obviously just where I lift weights, not a wrestling gym or anything like that. Turns out that's where Bulldog used to train. So the guy who used to own it, he sadly died a few weeks ago. Walter O'Malley was actually Bulldog's bodybuilding coach. So when you go in the gym, there's pictures of Bulldog in there, and obviously the machines haven't changed since he used to train there. It's really old school. But yeah, I still mark out now and then, thinking like I'm training on the same machines Bulldog used to train on, which is really sad. But there you go.
Well, would you say that obviously seeing all the obviously like there would be some like memorabilia sort of thing, that is that the sort of thing that you kind of use as like motivation if you might be having a bad day, might have had a bad day at work sort of thing, or you might be like feeling a certain way. Do you use that as like motivation to keep yourself going?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big thing. I think that's why I use him so much. Is thinking like, if a lad from round here and a lad who grew up pretty much in the same place as me, trained in the same place, had a similar kind of upbringing by the sounds of it, like if he can make it to the heights he did, then is pretty much no ceiling for anyone. Like he's literally shown that it can be done. yeah, the only thing that gets me is thinking. Obviously, I got into it when I was 25 when I started, and then I sit there and think, oh, is it too late? Is it this? But to be fair, the longer I've done it, the more I'm generally just learning to enjoy the journey itself. Like it's like I said to you before, none of my mates are wrestling fans, but since I've started wrestling, I've made some amazing friends from all over, and then they're wrestling fans. So now I've got people to speak about wrestling about, like people that I've got things in common with. It's just a great community. I know I'm going off the question, but yeah, the community in wrestling's like it's amazing. It's given me a chance to meet amazing people and just get out of my boring day to day, pretty much.
Fantastic, mate. Like I said to you, mate, you can ramble on as much as you want. You can tangent off as much as you like. Honestly, mate, this episode's all about you, bud. Absolutely no problem.
Don't get me started. I'm already starting to. Yeah.
So, how would you say that you prepare for a big match? It might be a title match, it might be just like a main event sort of thing. How do you prepare both mentally and physically?
To be honest, so I'm getting to the point now where I'm working a lot more. The schedule's getting busier. When I first started, I was doing one show a month, and then I was just thinking, like for that whole month, I'm thinking, oh, I might do this in my match, or I'm gonna practice this move and do this. Whereas, like last weekend, it was 4 shows within 3 days, so obviously become a lot quicker. And yeah, but I say the more I'm doing it, the more relaxed I am, the more confident. It's a good atmosphere now. I used like with the Kirby match, I said I was terrified. I was overthinking everything. I was, oh, what if this happens? What if I do this? What if it's awful and he hates me after it? But that's kind of you still get the nerves. But in the locker room now, I'm cracking jokes with everyone. I'm catching up with people that might not have seen in a while. It's just a really good feeling to be able to like just relax a lot more. In the ring, you can relax a lot more. It just feels a lot better. But preparation wise is, in complete honesty, I don't think you can call yourself a British independent wrestler if you've not had at least 1 to 2 monsters before the show. So that's just a standard. I never drunk energy drinks before wrestling, but you know, that's where we're at. Yeah, a couple of monsters. I'm normally the designated driver because I hate being passenger. So I've normally got like travel partners. So it's great because you'll just get someone in your car you've never met before, and then after like say 2 hours, 3 hours, because I never get booked anywhere near where I live, which is great. I get the big 3-hour car journeys, and then you just end up making like really good mates with people in that time. And plus, I can talk for days as well. So probably not the most pleasant journey for them, but it keeps me entertained anyway.
So, what's the furthest that you've been booked then?
Oh, the other week, it weren't the furthest, but it was the worst kind of journey. So it was on a Saturday. I had to go to Bangor, which is like on the other side of like North Wales. Had to go there, wrestle there, but I had to pick a lad up from St Helens, which ain't too bad. It's only about 25 minutes from me. I had to drive from St Helens, pick another lad up from Manchester, like straight through the city centre. And then there was a big event going on in Manchester, so it was just absolute chaos getting through there. And then I had to drive from Manchester to Bangor. Drove to Bangor, did the show. Obviously, had to wait for the other lads to wrestle. Finished the show. Had to drop the lad off in St Helens, pick another lad up in Bolton, drop the lad off in Manchester, and then drive to Halifax for another show. Oh, I also drove to the wrong venue, so they had to drive to the other side of Halifax to the right venue. Yeah, that's been the biggest kicker so far. But yeah, I quite like the car journeys. To be fair, if anything, they're probably like my favourite thing.
Definitely, mate. I think it definitely makes it easier when you've got some good travel partners with you. Who would you say are your top 3 travel partners to have?
Top 3. Ooh. So I won't do it in a particular order.
That's fine. That's fine.
But I'd say Dan Pesic, Dan Pesic, only because obviously we both train together, we both tag together, and then it's like the weirdest thing ever. But I think because we're so sort of obsessed with like the business, we'll sit there and we'll be playing music, and then we'll play the first 30 seconds, and we're like, that'll be a good entrance song for someone, or this will be a good song for this gimmick, and then we'll change to another song. It's like, oh yeah, but have you heard this one? This would be good for. And the next thing, I'll find myself messaging like lads that we train with or lads that we know in wrestling saying, hey, have you ever thought about coming out to this song? It'd be really good for you. It's just really, really sad. Well, that's like our favourite way to pass time. Matt Fowler, yeah, we've had some long car journeys. He's probably the most consistent person. Yeah, well, Maverick Matt Williams, sorry. I don't want to shoot name him. Who else? Oh, it's hard to put someone else in now because I feel like someone's going to get left out. Oh, do you know what? I'll say Marta. So even though he doesn't wrestle anymore, obviously being in the car with Marta, the guy just comes out with outrageous, like the most outrageous stories ever. Whether it's wrestling or not, the guy's led the wildest kind of life. And you wouldn't think it now because obviously he'll just sit in his local, he'll have a few pints, like that's his weekend. But his weekends 30, 40 years ago are just some of the guys lived about 10 lifetimes in one. The best one, to be fair, so the best one was we had a show, I don't know, it was Saturday or Friday, my short-term memory is awful. It was literally like this weekend. But we had a show, and then last minute he said, oh, I'm not going to be there for this one. And obviously straight away I'm thinking, oh, it's a new venue. It's like our own show. What do you mean you're not going to be there? Oh, well, that AEW's invited me down. I was like, what? It's like, yeah, they've invited me down to like a guest of honor. Just casually. Like, he didn't mention it. He didn't start off with that. I was like, sat there on the phone thinking, at first I was fuming. I was like, what do you mean you're missing the show? And then I'm like, that's a pretty damn good reason to miss the show, to be fair. Yeah, the video, obviously, I put up today. He's in the front row and obviously having a bit of a moment with Nigel McGuinness. And it's weird because once you get to know him personally, you do kind of forget sometimes, like, he was a very good wrestler. But, yeah, top 3, them 3.
That's mate, fantastic. So, aside from mental health and aside from car journeys, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in your wrestling career so far?
So, I'd say, so from coming from a sporting background anyway, I'm naturally competitive and I naturally always want to. Yeah, so at the start, I had the problem of I wanted to do more and I wanted to basically run before I could walk. So there was times I was taking bumps and I was really trying to go like big with them. I was like, oh no, I don't want to just like flop to the floor. I want to fly and everyone see me and get the big reaction. So I did that in my second match and I broke my hand. So yeah, I tried to rotate as I went over. I've stuck my hand out because I knew I was going to hit my head, and then yeah, the hand just went. So 2 fingers, the wrist. This was for Union, so they do obviously British rounds, and then went back to my corner because the bell had just rung. Obviously grabbed hold of my hand, my finger was facing the other way. Said to the ref, yeah, I'm gonna have to call it. So ends up calling the finish, and yeah, still proud that I finished the match, but yeah, that's one of the worst injuries I've had so far. Yeah, just pretty much just a couple of injuries picked up. Again, it's gonna happen, especially when you know. This is why I say to people like, especially like new lads who come to the gym, like just make sure like you bump in. Like I know everyone gets overly excited and wants to get in there. I was exactly the same. Again, it's not like I'm a grizzled veteran. I'm a year and a half into working. But yeah, like fundamentals are absolutely massive. Things like roles and stuff, you don't realise how important they are when you're in there. Just more for yourself, like protect yourself, protect your body. Again, I work. I'm a carpenter. I've got to go to work. Like if I damage my hand, it meant that I had to have a week off work. It's a week not getting paid. It means that I can't pay my subs to wrestle. So yeah, look after yourselves, like a big one.
Definitely sound advice, that, mate. So, how would you say that your wrestling style or your persona has evolved since you first started?
Yeah, massively. So when I first started, uh, David, the guy who runs Union, he came down to the gym, and then he loves like the old world of sport style. That's obviously why he came to Marty's place. And then he seen a couple of us, and then he came up to me after training and said, "Oh, I like the way you're coming on week by week. Obviously, you're not ready for shows yet, but he said, come down to the show, and then I'll let you go in the corners. 'Cause obviously, they had cornermen, and then that's how I started. I started just in the corners watching the matches. Like, obviously, I got to be backstage in the locker rooms, like getting to see how everything worked. It was honestly like really valuable experience. I absolutely loved it. But then yeah, one day I turned up all like suited and booted, ready to do another show in the corners. And then he said, "Have you got your gear here?" At this point, I'd been doing a couple of rumbles for Marta. So yeah, he went, "Oh good." He went, "I think you're ready for your first match." Obviously, absolutely froze up. Yeah. Uh, but he said like he's comfortable, safe enough to work. I got to work with another lad that I train with. It was great, but when I went out there, it was the generic Etsy trunks that I say 9 out of 10 wrestlers end up getting, like the similar pattern. And then, to be fair, he just said to me, "I don't want you to be a face. I don't want you to be a heel. I want you to go out, just be a wrestler." And that's pretty much how I started. Just really generic. Yeah, go in, grapple. That was pretty much it. And then I think I've had more like I won't say gimmick changes, but more, especially like at one point I had a big mustache and I was coming out like one of the Beatles, and then it's kind of morphed into like the big biker jacket with the tassels and then the headbands, and it's just being a bigger version of myself again. I'm really into like classic rock, like obviously you Led Zeppelin, Rory Gallagher, just yeah, I call it dad rock because every time I put the car on, put music on in the car, 9 times out of 10 someone's going to say, "Oh, my dad listens to this song." So yeah, and then I just played into it and thought like, this is like the style I want. If I could choose how to wear what I'd wear in public, I probably would wear that jacket. Yeah, to me it's cool. So yeah, going from like a generic, just typical tweener to what I am now, which is a bit more cocky, a bit more brash, a bit more cheeky. Like, yeah, it's day and night.
Definitely, mate. I think that when you speak about the persona that you had with the mustache, I saw one of the photos on your Instagram, and I turned to my wife and I said to her, "It looks like the third member of Mustache Mountain, along with Pete Dunne and Tyler
Yeah,
Bates." To be fair,
I've had that a lot. To be fair, the one that hurt was I came out, and this time I was a babyface. So I came out as babyface. First time in ages. I've been doing Charlie Charlie for so long, and then someone started screaming "Ayo" like Freddie Mercury, and then it took me a while to clock on, and it was like mid-March when I realised what he meant by it. But it's just one of them moments when like you're mid-March, and then my head's just elsewhere, thinking, as if I can't like, yeah. So that got to me.
mate. So we've got some internet questions for you from people on Instagram. If you have got a question for Charlie at all, please put it in the comments below. try and get to him as quick as we can. First question is from Steve Grimshaw, a good mutual friend of ours, who says, what's it like training under such a legend of British wrestling like Marty Jones?
Oh, depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I sit there and think British legend. Sometimes I sit there and think, no, honestly, like it's like I said before, you get to know him. I've got to know him on like a personal level. Like it is weird sometimes because I sit there and think, oh, it's Marty, and then obviously I'll come out with a story or I'll see a clip of him and I'm like, I can't believe that's Marty. Like it's great. He is really old school. It suits me to a T. It's more used to how obviously coming from like the boxing background straight into wrestling. The training is kind of similar. As in like the intensity, the focus on like conditioning, obviously technical wrestling, being able to call matches. It's good. Again, I've obviously when I go on with like people who've trained elsewhere and stuff like that, it's weird thinking like the little things that we do because we drill so much, and then they say, "Oh, how'd you do that?" or "Where'd you learn that?" And it's just something as unimpressive as like taking the wrist or putting a hammerlock on. It's to us we don't notice any different, but Marty focuses on if everyone's doing it this way, he wants us to be different. He wants us to try and stand out. But yeah, it's great. It's tough. Like he doesn't sugarcoat anything. Like if you do something, it doesn't look good. Like he's not shy about his choice of words.
Fantastic, mate. So the other question is from Steve, and he says, do you consider yourself more of a singles competitor, or do you prefer working as a tag team or faction?
See, it's weird. I always wanted to be a tag wrestler, so I was pushing really hard, and then me and Dan became a tag, and then me, Dan, and Sam Pele became like a trio over at Wrestle Island, where we still are. Absolutely loving doing the work with them lads. But selfishly, I've grew to love being a singles wrestler. I do kind of like it when I'm in there, and I can. The thing is, I love like the crowd. But I just love the actual wrestling. Like I love being in a wrestling match. I love the. Yeah, I feel like when I'm in a tag, it's great, but then I've got to spend half of it stood on the outside. Whereas selfishly, I want to be in there. I get restless.
Definitely, mate. So just so everyone knows, we're going to be going into the mental health side of the questions now, mate.
Yep.
So these questions may get a bit deep. The answers may get a bit deep. So if for whatever reason you do suffer with mental health, could be depression, anxiety, could be addiction or anything like that, there is a disclaimer in the description below. There are links also to organisations in the description below. We're going to play a really short transition, guys, so we can go into the questions. So we'll see you in 2 seconds. So, Charlie, mate, first question we've got for you is, can you share a bit about when you first started experiencing mental health?
Yeah, so it's a weird one. So I didn't actually notice it at first, but looking back, like when I was really young, like I used to be a really nervous kid. So like I really struggled like socializing with other kids, and then yeah, I used to do weird things like I'd barricade like my bedroom door, and my family'd always wonder why. And then in my head, it was because I thought like it, there probably was more chance of burglars, but I thought like monsters or zombies were going to break in. And then you think that's normal for a kid, but then this carried on until I was like 13, 14. Like it got it got to the age where like I should know. And in my head, I guess I knew it was really unlikely, but again, my head would just keep going and going, and then it just started with stuff like that. And then yeah, let's say pretty much as young as about 5, 6. That's probably when I started noticing things were a bit off.
I think, right. So, how has the demanding nature of professional wrestling itself impacted your mental health?
So to be honest, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. As cliche as that sounds, like So obviously, when I mentioned obviously I grew up playing sports, like sports was like an escape from obviously home life was not great, and then I was kind of isolated from everyone. So like the only time I see my mates was in school. Wasn't allowed to play out. I wasn't allowed pretty much to leave the house until I started playing football, and then that was like my way to be allowed out the house. And then I got picked up quite young by obviously like an academy, and it was great because like my family, no one had ever like played football. Never mind, got picked up, and then it was fun. But then these kind of piled the pressure on from an early age. Like I remember being 8, 9 years old, and the coaches are screaming, saying like, "You're fighting for a job, like you're fighting for your dream, like you need to try harder, you need to train harder." And then it sounds encouraging, but at that age, it becomes quite damaging because you start obsessing, and then that's what kind of happened. I had this sort of compulsive obsessions. Like I was, it's always got to be competitive, but I was overly competitive. I had to win everything. I had to win the bleep test. I had to be the fastest. I wanted to be the strongest, and then carry this on till what I was 17, 16, 17. Just that whole mentality. It was my whole world. In school, I didn't care. It's the only time I see my mates, I dicks about, and then I thought I'm going to be a footballer. There's nothing else. I'm going to be a footballer. And then at 16, 17, I get called in thinking, oh, this is it. This is my professional contract. I'm going to play for the first team. And then I got released, which still to this day was like the most devastating thing that ever happened to me. I had the same head of academy from when I first started as a kid to when I'm pretty much a young adult. And then it felt like a family member. And then for him to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, we're releasing you. We're really sorry." But obviously, like I spent most of my time at that facility. I spent most of my time around those people, and then it's just like being told, "Oh yeah, you're not part of this anymore. Bye." And then it didn't kind of hit home. I just remember going home, and then I sat in the car, and then a family member that I'm not keen on. I just remember them saying, "Well, you fucks it up," and then just remember bursting into tears and just silence the whole way home. Yes, that really hurt. And then I don't know. I tried coming back. I had time out. The pressure got a lot. I had a few months out. I went back playing for my local team, so I played for Warrington. And then it's kind of like an ego thing to say that competitive nature. I was sat thinking, oh, this is a crap level. This is like, I'm better than this. Like, I don't even want to play for these. And I played 3, 4 games. And then next thing, I couldn't walk. I'd gone in for a tackle, got taken off. I thought, oh, great, another injury. And then I tried to go back to training a few weeks later. It went again. And then, long story short, it lasted a year and a half until I finally got told that I'd tore the cartilage in my hip. Yeah, so I had to go through quite extensive surgery to have that fixed. And then afterwards, just got told like sports is a no-go. They said you can do moderate walking, maybe some light jogging at best, but like playing sports at any standards, I'm not going to do.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that, mate. So before going to the next question, mate, got a comment from Magical Wrestling, very good friend of the channel, who says, "Is mental health more common than fans realise in wrestling?"
Oh, absolutely. It's more common in life, never mind just wrestling. But yeah, like absolutely. I think people in wrestling are kind of open with it as well. Like it's nice. You do kind of get kind of close personal friendships with people, and obviously you see a lot of the same people. And like I said, it is a community where I like to think like a majority of people will look out for each other. But yeah, to answer the question, yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic, mate. So thank you for that, Liam. If anyone's got any more questions, please feel free to chuck them in the chat, and we'll get them to Charlie's with time depending. So, what specific challenges related to mental health have you faced within the wrestling industry, bud? For example, performance anxiety, pressure, after travel, body imagery, and social media scrutiny.
Oh, all the above. Yeah. No, so again, like I said, like when I got into wrestling, I said I wasn't going to put the same pressure I did on myself when, again, going from the football, I basically rehabbed my hip to a point where I could start jogging, and it led over like a couple of years, and then I was doing boxing just for fitness, and then it got to a point where I could box as an amateur, and then obviously did that for a few years. But then even then, that old mentality starts coming back, and at first it's like, oh, I'm just doing it because it's fun, it keeps me fit. But then it just clicks in place, and it's like, no, I've got to be the best. I've got to train. I've got to make it. I want to be a world champion. And then I just sort of burned myself out and punched myself into the ground with it, where it stopped being enjoyable. And then I had to have a break from that, and then obviously that's when I found wrestling. And again, I started wrestling, and I said, I'm just going to do what I love. What do I love in life? And that's what I thought, well, wrestling, and that's how I got into it. And then I've said from day one, like, I always want to just enjoy it for what it is. I don't want to think too far ahead. And don't get me wrong, like already I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with that. Like I said to you before, I'm start thinking, oh, I got into it too late. Like I won't go anywhere. But then I have to keep saying to myself, like, you didn't get into this for that reason. Like you said, what happens, happens. Do your best, but just enjoy it. And then even beforehand, I deleted social media years ago because I started to get an obsession with that. Just daily posting things. I was personally going to like raves, festivals, trying to paint this perfect image of myself, even though I didn't even enjoy the life I was leading, just for social media. So I deleted all that just because it wasn't good for mental health. Obviously, doing wrestling meant that I had to get it back again, so I started fresh with new accounts. And then it's great because I'm posting stuff because I'm doing more shows, I'm doing more this, I'm doing more that. But then there is times I have to stop myself, and I'm like, just stop checking. Don't check your Instagram. Don't check your Facebook. Stop sneaking off into work to go check and see if anyone's liked the photo you put up or the video you put up. And then image was a big one when I first started. So I refused to even step foot into I refused to go to my first session until I got to over 80 kilograms, I think. Yeah, 80 kilograms. So when I was boxing, I was 69, so I was really good shape, but I was really like skin and bone. And then when I wanted to do wrestling, I was like, oh, wrestlers have got to be big. Like I've got to look like Bulldog. Like, and I said I wouldn't start training until I got to at least 80. So, God, for a good year, all I did was eat and train, and I got in good shape. And I kind of realized like I should have just focused more on actually learning to wrestle than just how I looked at the time. But yeah, even now I'll see photos in shows and say like, I don't know, I'd been on holiday or I've been working and been a bit tired. I missed the gym a couple of times this week, and I'll see a photo that's unflattering. That does kind of get to you, and then the body image starts coming into it. And yeah, so like I said, all the above do affect you. It's just learning how to manage them.
Right. So expanding on that, how obviously when you see these photos that are either unflattering or maybe have a bad show or something like that, how do you deal with that sort of effect on your mental health sort of thing?
It's just kind of one of them. Like I think we all can be guilty of comparing ourselves to others, and like I'll do shows with like wrestlers who are like big. I'll shout about it. So one of my mates that I first started doing shows with has been a big help, but like Sammy Jeter's an absolute beast of a man. 6'4", about 20 stone, just chiseled physique, big. And then obviously I'm stood next to him, and he was actually my first ever match. My first ever match was a gauntlet, so I wrestled a lad called Thomas, and then I wrestled Thomas straight after. But when I seen the photos being in the ring with him, and I was like, this guy's twice the size of me. I've been training for a year non-stop. Like, you've got to be kidding me. And then it's just kind of thinking like, I need to stop comparing myself to this person and just carry on doing what I'm doing. I'll get there eventually. I'll just keep enjoying it. If you stop enjoying it, you're just gonna burn yourself out. And that's all I keep saying to myself is just don't worry about that. Just keep enjoying it.
Definitely, mate. So, were there any particular moments or periods in your career so far where your mental health struggles have felt particularly overwhelming? Or
I'd say probably this past couple of months.
okay,
Obviously, I think that's why I was the one who reached out to you to do this. Was I think lately I have, mental health's probably been kicking off more than it has since the last few years. I guess it's just the pressure, like changes in personal life, and then obviously I've been getting booked a lot more, and then obviously I'm doing more shows, I'm on with more people, and I'm thinking, oh, I've got to take advantage of it. But then I sit there and think, I've got my personal life, I've got bills to pay, I've got to try and get into work, and obviously manage like personal relationships and see my family, and it's just fitting it all in. And sometimes it is overwhelming, but then I'm sat thinking like, I wish I had more time to give to wrestling. I wish I didn't have to work near 50 hours a week. I wish I didn't have to have so many responsibilities. But yeah, it does kind of mess with you sometimes. Yeah, definitely.
I definitely understand that, mate. So, when you're experiencing these overwhelming times, what sort of like coping mechanisms or strategies have you found most effective when trying to manage these episodes?
So with me, it's more the anxiety. I used to suffer really bad with like health anxiety and just suffered panic attacks like daily. So the good thing is now, because I'd suffered so badly with them, I'd managed to learn like my own triggers. So it's that things like lately, it's like tight shoulders, clenching my teeth. I wake up like my jaw will be aching, and obviously like my back starts getting sore from. So it's just noticing my triggers, and then it's just learning to have days. I feel really guilty. I can't just relax. I always feel like I'm being lazy. Like, I think on bank holiday, I tried to have a day just lay in bed. I thought, I've been training loads, wrestling loads. I'll play my PlayStation and just have a lazy day. I got about 3 hours in, and I'm sat thinking, it's just like the thoughts in your head thinking, oh, you're a loser. Like, you should be in the gym. Like, there's people out there who are doing this and doing that, and they're probably in the gym training, or they've traveled to the other side of the country to train at this school, and that starts creeping into your head. So for me, to be fair, it's probably the one thing that I say I don't really have the greatest coping strategy for. It's something I do still struggle with. At that point, I literally would drag myself to the gym, because it's the only thing that stopped me thinking that is bad. Just thinking, right, yeah, get to the gym, do something.
Right. So, would you say that there's quite a bit of imposter syndrome that sets in when obviously you've not been to the gym, or if you've had, say, not necessarily a bad match, but if you know that you've missed a cue or a spot or something like that, does the imposter syndrome sort of like take a hold of the situation, sort of thing?
Oh, definitely. I say not even just wrestling, like day-to-day life, but I say something where someone will think, oh yeah, it was fine. Or mine's more like if I have a match or I throw a strike and I feel like I've caught someone, or in my head I just can't let it go. I'm like, oh, you've done this, you're an idiot. Like, they're gonna think you meant it, you was purposely trying to shoot on them. Like, they're gonna go back and tell everyone you're really unsafe and your career's over, and it's just that stupid. It's like the snowball effect in your brain, pretty much. It starts with like, oh, I hope, obviously they didn't think that was on purpose, and then it's, oh, what if they did think it was on purpose? Or oh, what if they do this and what if they? It's just that what if every time.
Definitely. So, what kind of support system would you say that you rely on both within and outside of wrestling?
I say within wrestling, I feel like I've got a really good circle of people around me. To be honest, like I'm quite lucky to say, like, even if it's just my personal life, I feel like I've got a good 3 or 4 people I could just send them a DM and say, "Oh, mate, I've got this going on," and then I know they'll literally read the paragraph of just me rambling, and then I know they'll read it and they'll get back to me, and just that reassurance of like sharing your problem with someone, them acknowledging it, and then just it's not even like I'm trying to ask them to fix the problem. It's just that being heard and it's fine, mate, and just that support kind of network. And then obviously I know I do it for them, and it's just nice knowing that there's people out there who have got your back.
Definitely, matey. So, what message would you give to other wrestlers or anyone that's watching who might be struggling with their mental health and feels though they have to keep it silent?
It's really easy to sit there and tell people, "Oh, just go and talk about it. Make sure you talk about it." It sounds really. I always say, like with mental health, like trying to apply logic to someone who's not thinking logically doesn't work. Like it's in one ear out the other. It can be difficult, but all I can say is just take the advice. What's the worst that could happen? If people are telling you to talk and open up, just try it. I always said even if it makes me feel 0.1% better, it's got to be better than how I'm feeling now. And then you try things. For me, it was being told things about obviously like mindfulness and being given the books, and I'm sat thinking, oh, what a load of rubbish. And I got to the point when it was like, this can't get any worse. Like, what's the harm? And then it did help. And then the best thing is it's easy to say, oh, you need to be willing to help yourself before you let other people to help you. But you really do. Like, you need to get to that point where you're allowing people to give you advice and take it on. You're not just going to dismiss them and think, oh, this is a load of rubbish. Like, just acknowledging that I'm maybe not in the best headspace right now. I probably should listen to this person. And listening to the right people as well is a big one. Sorry.
Yeah, so mate, absolutely sound advice that, bud. So, got a quick comment from Liam at Magical Wrestling again, who just says that he would say that you're not alone. Is that something that you'd also pontificate upon to others as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think you'd be so surprised, like some conversations you can have with lads, especially them big car journeys. Like they can get quite deep. But you'll come out, or a lad will come out of a story, and you'll turn, you'll think, mate, I had such a similar time. Or especially in wrestling, you'll see like this big beast of a man that you look up to, or these people you think, oh, he's cool, he's got everything going for him. And then you hear like the struggles they've been through, and just being able to like relate to someone. And it's just that feeling of empathy and feeling like you aren't alone. Like other people do feel this. Like it's easy to look at the world and think, oh, I'm the outcast, I'm the odd one out, like I'm the weirdo pretty much. But you're really not. Like more people suffer than obviously you'd think.
Definitely, mate. So, how do you believe the professional wrestling industry as a whole can better support its performers' mental well-being?
See, wrestling, as much as I said at the start, it's like it's just a crazy world. It literally is the Wild West. There's no like governing body or anything like that. It literally is like it's the independence. You're independent. But I think that's what makes it more special is there isn't anyone telling you to have this sort of community. There isn't anyone telling you to have this support system of people. It literally is just people coming together, not because they have to, generally because they want to. And I feel like that's better. Like if you're opening up to someone, it's because they want to help you. Like they want to be there for you, and instead of someone who's just paid to be there or paid to try and make you feel better. But yeah, wrestling, it's a beautiful thing. Like I could never have imagined like the community around it when I first got into it, and thinking that'd be like the biggest thing for me was this community. And it doesn't just mean wrestlers, like everyone around the business, whether it's referees, fans, people who do like the pictures, the cameras, just anyone involved in it that's the community. Like there's no egos, like nobody's perfect. Like you're gonna get people, but I like to think like a majority of wrestlers will look out for someone. If a fan reaches out and says, I'm really struggling at the moment, I can't imagine just ignoring it, thinking, oh, who's this Mark or any of that jargon. Like I'd like to think that most people would answer that message and say, oh, what's up, mate? Like, how can I help? It's yeah, wrestlers are generally some of the most selfless people that I've come across.
Fantastic to hear that, mate. So, what, as we know, fans of professional wrestling have a preconceived notion about wrestlers obviously being larger than life superheroes, sort of thing. What advice would you offer to those fans who want to support wrestlers who are open about their mental health struggles?
That's quite a good question. Honestly, all I'd say is the best way to look at it is, even though, like, again, when we are out there, it's larger than life. Like, it's larger than life. It's over the top. It's great. It's crazy. It's drama. It's exciting. But then always remember, like, behind every wrestler out there, there is a person. Like, there's a person. There's a brother, a father, a son, a mother, a sister. Like, they are people. Like, the people with families. A lot of us have got jobs. Like, we are human beings. Like we have some of the same struggles, some of the same obstacles in life, just like everyone else. Don't just look at the screen and think, "Oh, look at these superheroes. Why aren't I like them?" Like you are. Like we're all people at the end of the day.
Definitely, mate. Sound advice there, but thank you. How do you balance the need to portray such a strong character in the ring with obviously the reality of your personal mental health struggles?
It's just the best outlet in the world, and I feel really lucky that I get to do it. Like when I do get to go out there and I'm Charlie Mayne and I'm in the ring, I just get to be everything. I get to let it all out. I get to let the craziness can come out. The the craziness, the over the top, the cockiness, the brashness. Again, it's all the thing is that I feel emotions so strongly. I'm so laid back day to day. It's like I hold everything in because I'm feeling everything at once. So like it's the biggest thing I get when people meet me. Oh, he's so laid back, he's so chill. But it's like being a volcano. Like once I'm like, especially if I'm comfortable with people, like my mates will say, I don't shut up. I'm constantly 1 minute I'm cracking jokes, I'm laughing, I'm loud, and then next thing I can just be sat in my room completely silent. Like wrestling, I can go out there and I can literally be every single emotion because you need every single emotion out there, and it's just a great place to let it out. And yeah, I'm really lucky that I get to do it because I can't think of any better. I couldn't think of anything else where I can literally live every emotion within 20 minutes.
Definitely, mate. Fantastic. So, as we start to wind down, bud, what are your aspirations and goals within professional wrestling for the future?
Biggest goal is to not put too much pressure on myself. Is the big one. The dream is obviously ev- everyone would like to make it. Everyone's got a different definition of making it. Making it to me is doing it full time and finally getting to move out of this town. Is that's making it to me. Getting to wrestle for a living, yeah, and yeah, get out of here, travel, see a bit of the world. Don't be stuck in Warrington my whole life. that's making it to me. But yeah, the biggest one is just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Keep meeting amazing people. Yeah, make some amazing friendships and do what I can for this business, because the business, despite the fact I've been in it a year and a half, it's already done so much for me. I feel like I owe it pretty much everything to give back. Yeah.
So, mate. So we've got some quick fire questions, if that's okay with you, bud. Just got a couple.
Yep.
So first one is, what is your favourite finishing move of all time?
Favorite finishing move? It's going to sound really generic. DDT, the Jake the Snake DDT. Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, one of the very first wrestling moves that were ever done, mate. So can't fault it. Favourite entrance music of all time?
Shawn Michaels. It used to be my boxing walkout song, like 100%.
What is a move you've always wanted to do but you haven't yet?
720. I still don't have a move off the top rope, so I'm working towards it.
Fair enough. Who's your favourite opponent you've ever worked with?
Favorite opponent? Oh. Do you know what? I'm going to say Joe Nixon, only because we've wrestled about 1,000 times at this point where I don't even have to speak to him anymore. I could literally fight the guy in my sleep if I had to.
So, mate, last quick fire question. What's the one movie you could watch over and over again?
I'm going to out myself here. The Notebook.
I thought you were going to say Barbie.
It would have been better.
Right, mate. Coming out to the last question. As always on Wrestle Wellbeing, we like to finish with a bit of a lighter question. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
Right. Rushmore. Yeah. So I'm controversial. If we're just talking about the wrestler, not the guy behind the wrestler, just impact in wrestling, Hogan's got to be on there just for the impact, impartial to anything else. Hogan, Lou Thesz, Bruno, and it's really hard. I can't think of the last one. Yeah, I'm just going to have them through. I feel like if I name anyone else, it's just going to be controversial.
Fair enough, mate. That is it, guys, for today's episode of the Unseen Battles here on Wrestle Wellbeing. I've been your host, Jim. I've been joined by the fantastic man that is Charlie Mayne.
Thank you.
If you want to check out Charlie Mayne, if you haven't already, make sure you go check him out on his Instagram at Charlie_Mayne. What's your other? If you want to plug any of your other socials, Charlie, mate?
I've got Instagram, Facebook, and I am, as you can tell by the start of this, I'm awful with technology. It took me nearly 2 weeks to find out how to make an X account, so that'll be coming soon.
Fantastic, mate. I will let you have the last word, but if there's anything you want to plug, if there's anything you want to say, if there's anything you want to get off your chest, anything at all, mate, the floor is yours.
No, all I want to say is, again, as cliche as it may sound, but yeah, just thank you to anyone who's booked me, give me a chance on your show. Thank you to any lads that I've worked with, been in the locker room, anyone who's bought a ticket to see me, anyone who spoke to me, messaged me, liked the post. Again, absolutely, this community means literally everything to me now. It is part of my life, and I couldn't be happier.
Fantastic, mate. Thank you so much, Charlie, for coming on the show today. Obviously, guys, as you can see, got some merch in. If you want one of these, make sure you privately message me on Instagram and I can sort you out a shirt. But until then, guys, make sure you look after each other. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me, mate. And as always, look after yourselves.
Cheers, pal.
There we go, bud.